Hello and welcome everyone to a fantastic episode of Was That in Good Taste presents a Behind the Bar Productions featuring The Tasting Table. I'm going to be one of your hosts tonight, and my name is going to be Chandler Phillips, and with me as always is the other one of your hosts.
Just call me James. How are you doing today, Chandler? It feels so good to be back at the tasting table with all of our friends. Please make sure that you do the thing.
Like,
comment,
and subscribe.
What are we having today at the tasting table, Chandler?
Well, in honor of today being such a beautiful spring day and my allergies acting as such, we have a fun locally made gin called Pollinator.
Pollinator, Pollinator, Pollinator.
Brought to us by Catskill Provisions Distillery. That's right, it is a New York-made gin made with not only New York, or I don't know if it's New York grain. Wait,
yes, it's New York grain.
Non-GMO New York State corn and our wildflower honey from Catskill Provisions. That's going to provide the base spirit of today's gin. And it has some other fun little botanicals that we're going to get into. And as I said, my allergies have been going off the rails these past these days on account of the pollen count has been off the charts.
Oh, yeah.
How have you been handling it?
I mean, as I'm growing yellow habanero, chocolate habanero, red habanero, white habanero, and cherry peppers in my house, they've been doing pretty fucking good.
What the fuck is chocolate habanero?
It's like they're brown.
What the?
They're brown. They're different. They're different colors. They have different flavors.
Does it taste chocolatey?
No, but they taste different. You and your Neanderthal palate wouldn't understand it, which is why I'm surprised that we're even gonna taste
just
this.
Because my 23andMe says that I fall within the 98th percentile of Neanderthal markers in human DNA does not mean I have some sort of Cro-Magnon brain development or palate development. I like my meat as raw and wriggling as the next guy.
Ugh, disgusting. What are absolutely just disgusting. You're disgusting. You disgust me. Your palate is reductive. It's terrible. You wouldn't know how to taste anything. How could you taste this, Chandler?
Well, okay, Mr. Oh, we've mastered fire, but still need firefighters. Fucking idiot. Homo sapiens, overrated. Gonna be honest.
Don't do it.
Hey,
don't do it.
Hot take. Maybe if you didn't stand up straight, then you'd be humbled a little bit more. Just saying. You could use a little character development.
We have a table.
Yeah.
We have a spirit.
And we're tasting it.
And we have tasting. So what are we going to do? We're going to taste first? You're going to taste first? Am I going to taste first?
You taste first. I'm going to read off some of the cool fun facts about this.
He's going to read from the bottle with authority as though he knows what he's talking about. And I am going to take a sip of this delicious gin.
So one of the cool things about this gin is not only is it made with local New York wildflower honey, it also has devoted itself in kind of its mission statement to donating a percentage of each sale to helping preserve the ecosystems of wild bees. As we all know, pollinators are a fundamental part of any thriving ecosystem. And as much as pollen does completely inhibit me from not wanting to claw my eyes out, it is an important part of a thriving global ecology. And as we've talked on this podcast about how passionately I love bees and I appreciate honey, and honestly, they're nature's little communists who prove that not only does socialism work, but it does also produce something of value. Because we all know bees are socialist. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. The only bees that they don't like are the bourgeois bees. And those are wasps. Wasps are the bourgeois bees. Um,
The bourgeois bees. Get the fuck out of here.
so
That's good. That's so good.
a portion of sales for this gin go to help protect bee populations and just. I told you about how I wrote an essay once about the science of colony collapse disorder and how it emulates the social collapse that comes with fascist xenophobia. How okay, this is actually a real thing. All right, guys. So colony collapse disorder happens when like there's some sort of blight that the bees go through, like either mites or like an extreme drought or famine. And then at a certain point, the colony is no longer able to produce enough workers to sustain the hive. And so then they start expelling energy to produce more larvae, and then they'll end up sending out bees that are premature, and then the premature bees actually don't know how to survive the way the more mature bees do, and so they just keep taking loss after loss and can't actually like sustain themselves until eventually they'll have to abandon ship and swarm, and the swarm will just kind of go from place to place to find some sort of refuge. And the most optimal thing that can happen in most bee scenarios is, well, like you'd like to think that the swarm would eventually find a new source of sustenance and like a new ecology and kind of set up shop there. But because of human intervention in the ecosystems, that's not always the case. But what is the case is a kind of harmonious agreement in which bees are this wild swarm that is kind of just searching for some stability to start making more brood. The best case scenario is a beekeeper or some sort of steward of the bees. Beekeeper has this weird like power dynamic that a lot of contemporary beekeeping is more of bee husbandry, I think is a better term for it. But anyway, so this bee provocateur would then find the queen, isolate the queen, and then get the rest of the bees to follow her pheromones into a controlled hive, at which point they would set two hives up next to each other with like some sort of paper lining that allows pheromones to pass through without the bees necessarily having to have direct interaction, until eventually they become accustomed to each other's pheromones, and the hive is able to then grow both as having new work. Because not like every hive doesn't need just one queen, but there'll be like the queens kind of adapt to each other, and then it's a merger of sorts. But anyway, the name of the essay was The Refugee Bee Crisis. And
you've always been the same. Never
anywho.
change. Never change.
But it just, I think there's something to say that like the solution to once a colony has succumbed to colony collapse disorder is to not just kind of let that swarm around and potentially both self or like harm itself. It or
the
hurt.
pollen got me.
But the best way is to integrate the lost swarm into a larger hive, which is why any form of xenophobia is actually anti-bee and not good for honey production. Honey production in this sense is the GDP of the hive. And so like if there was like, I don't know, some queen that came into the hive, the white hive, and was like,
oh my God,
hey, we're actually gonna avoid, or we're not letting in any new swarms. And in fact, if you were ever part of a different hive, you aren't allowed to be here anymore. You got to buzz off. then that would actually be super detrimental to that hive, because then that hive would realize that it doesn't have enough workers to sustain the ever-growing honey need. But we know that it's actually not because the bees don't make enough honey, but it's actually because those who have been keeping the bees the entire time actually take a little bit larger percent of the honey than what they actually need, so they can sell it for profit. And if the beekeeper can't recognize that they're taking too much honey and that it's creating an unsustainable hive ecology, you would think that then the beekeeper would redistribute some of the honey back to some of the less flourishing hives. You would think, like, if I were a beekeeper, if I were good at beekeeping, because look, I know
the trickle down honey.
I know the queen is just a figurehead. The queen does whatever. I got the queen in like a little queen cage, and just the bees follow the queen. So like, if I'm the one who's collecting all the honey, you would think that, like, if I had the interest of my bees in mind, I would want to redistribute the honey. But no. Instead, I just keep selling it, and at the same time, I'm paying people to deforest the things that the bees need to pollinate. That the bees just want to fucking pollinate things and make honey.
Them systemically.
And now
first the hives, then the other hives. Oh, then they say that you can't have any soldier bees. You're not allowed to have any soldier bees. Right? If you have soldier bees, then I'm gonna feel unsafe.
So,
got the gigantic smoke gun.
Soldier bee, tell them that
taste the damn gin. Okay, can I say
tell them some of the look. I gave you ample time to.
No, you definitely did. I was thinking about a lot of things. One, I was thinking about how actually bee conservation is really important to me, because the reason why this is a thing is because New York, a huge part of the ecosystem here is fruiting plants like apples, right? And so what has happened over the last few years is that there have been collaborations between these big farms with the bees, with the orchards, you know what I mean? So there's like a whole cottage industry up there about maintaining ecology and producing things that participate in for example, like the
big farmer is good.
Big farmer is good.
Big pharma.
No, medium farmer good. Big farmer bad.
Yeah.
Big farmer evil.
Big farmer is how we destabilized most of Central America.
Juniper. I'm looking at it. Lemon peel.
Wait, there's juniper in this gin? Get out of town.
Orris root. So effectively, the reason I was talking about this, right, is that why it's so important for New York and flowering is that it's obvious from looking, all jokes aside, at the list here, juniper, lemon peel, orris root, coriander, angelica. These are all things that are either already produced or flowering that they intentionally plant, right, as part of ecological improvement initiatives to maintain the bee population. And this is a direct result, obviously, of they made these systems, they have these things, they have this honey, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why these are limited.
Because the
honey is limited, because the apple season is also limited to a certain part of the year. Of course, they distilled these the year before, so this is obviously not from this year. They didn't just distill this for this summer.
I think it has a number on the bottle.
It probably does, right?
You want to see what...
This says batch 7. The other ones had the batch and the year.
Oh.
But more than that is the taste. This tastes like there's fucking honey in it.
It tastes young.
It's sweet.
It's got a snap.
It's selenic. I almost used a no word. I almost said crisp. It's selenic, right? As in slightly, so it's light,
Some might even say mineral rich.
It is. It does taste mineral rich. You think that might be a
There's a minerality to it.
Would you say that's a result of the
Catskill
Mountains water? I'm being serious because one thing we've talked about before, as I pour some of your gin, is that you don't really taste terroir in these things. However, if you know anything about New York, you hear people say, "Oh, the pizza in New York is good, the bagels are good," and one of the things they attributed to is the water, right?
The water's got scrimps in it.
And it's because the water is particularly clean, blah, 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 all these things, the natural ecological, there's a lot of limestone, blah, 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 blah.
The water's got little scrimps in it that keep it pure.
But if you put it inside of this, if you cut it with this,
Yeah.
and it's spring water, or if it's like literally like from nature, like what other water do you drink straight from the
Glacial.
like glacial, right?
You can get deep well groundwater.
Yeah, like stuff that you would think you would filter, but they don't filter. We may be tasting that because there's a minerality to it. It is sweet. It's sweeter than I thought it was gonna be. While there is juniper, I'm not tasting a ton of juniper. I'm getting.
But that's kind of classic for a New York gin. From one of the New York gins that we've tried, the both being the Dorothy Parker and her cousin Perry Tott's gin, Navy Strength. There's also the Glorious Gin by Brooklyn 77. There's a gin by Standard Wormwood Distillery.
Yep.
There's gins by a handful. Greensmith Gin is another New York one, and none of those are really super junipery. They got a nice pithy citrusy.
They're citrusy or peppery. I feel like we love pepper, the pepperiness up here.
You like pepper. You like the pepperiness.
I like the pepperiness.
I just remember when we got the Lunar from Hendrix, and it was like, whoa, this is crack black pepper. I saw the vision, but I didn't appreciate the execution.
I appreciated it, but I think I would try to elevate it a little differently now. I think that I love the idea of the black pepper on the nose, a little bit of spice on the tongue, but now I might have done something maybe a little sweeter. The idea of honey, that sounds good actually. Imagine the idea of like kind of bright kind of pepper and honey.
Honey pepper wet?
Yeah. I feel like I'm really excited to try this in like maybe a gin and tonic, or to try this inside of...
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
What the fuck is orris root?
What
What is it?
Well...
Come on, veggie boy.
Well, as I know everything...
Come on, mister.
It is the dried rhizome of the iris plant, particularly Iris gramercia and Iris palladea. It is widely used in perfumery for its delicate fragrance and as a fixative to stabilize other scents. Obviously, orris root is additionally known for its utilizations in things like cosmetics, gin, and other spirits, where it contributes to both aroma and flavor. The most valued components, I don't know if you know this,
Most valued components?
of orris root is orris oil.
The MVCs.
The orris oil. The
Oil?
oil of orris, which is extracted from the root and contains compounds.
Wait. I still want to back it up to orris root is from the iris flower.
Yeah.
That just seems like kind of lazy naming. Like, it seems like something was lost in translation, and so someone was like, this is iris. And they're like, orris? And they're like, no, it's iris. All right, we're going to call it orris.
Oh my God, because it's the root of iris or dramatic. I can probably look it up and it'll say like, oh, the root of the name iris actually comes from orris, and then you would feel dumb.
No, I'm saying that's exactly probably what happened was like there was just a mix up and someone was like, well, I know the flower is called iris, but this is not the flower, so I'm going to call it something else. It's either orris.
I need to know.
Yeah.
What do you think of this seriously? I'm going to be frank and say that if I was gonna rate it on what
Can I still be Chandler?
if you want.
I think I'm actually getting a good amount of the Angelica coming through. There's a certain like pop of a springy herbaceousness that I would kind of put akin to like somewhere between sage and cilantro. Because it's got like that kind of like sage, but like with that little like wow cilantro kind of vibe to it.
I hate that I know what you mean.
And there's the juniper. The juniper is a solid backbone, but there's
What about
not
the orris root.
there's not too much citrus. The orris root, I am definitely getting like it's floral, but like an earthy floral, like almost like thyme. Like it tastes like if you were to eat a plant that grew on the ground. Know what I mean? Like one that had direct soil contact as it was growing. Not as sweet as a carrot, but more like a turnip. That's kind of what I picture a floral turnip as what orris root would taste like.
Breaking this down against my will, by the way, Copilot. I didn't ask for Microsoft Copilot, but it says that it's floral with a distinct bitter taste. I think that comes through because there is a bitterness to it, but it's not the same funkiness of the juniper.
Who's got the fucking caveman palate now?
That's crazy. Damn. All right. Okay. Okay.
So you were starting to say like, oh, this would be great in generic gin cocktail. What
or something funky.
What else you got? Give me
Okay.
something. Give me something funky.
This is what I'm thinking.
Show me something funky you'd want to try this.
This is what I'm
in.
thinking. Garnished with a daisy
Okay.
floating on top. Okay.
A dollop of
Dollop.
daisy.
It's gonna be a take on a gin martini,
Oh.
right? But it's gonna be floral, right? So I want to make a infused floral oil that's sweet.
Okay.
And I want to effectively make a gin martini with this, with the daisy floating in it, with this sweet floral oil, this floil
Yeah.
floating on top, so that as you drink it, you're getting a non-homogeneous, like a little bit of the oil sometimes. So sometimes you're going to be getting a little bit of the vermouth, right? A little bit of the gin.
Yeah.
Right, and I could even sweeten the oil. It could be a mixture of like it'd be like a with honey. Maybe it could be maybe rose water. Maybe I'm thinking something floral and sweet, because I feel like this is kind of dry, low salinic, kind of bitter.
Yeah.
Having it in something that's gin forward, so that you actually taste the gin. Whilst giving something to accentuate it, make it a little sweeter.
Yeah.
I'm trying to. I will take this shit to the fucking cocktail awards. Don't fuck with me, because I imagine looking at it and it looks pretty simple, and it's a little tiny edible dandelion floating on top, and then effectively what is a slightly cloudy but mostly clear martini and a nice chill but not frosted glass with what are effectively a little dollops of what is floating in little non-homogeneous little blobs
Yeah.
in a kind of honey color, right? So as you're sipping it, you're getting the gin forward martini, right? I want to do a tasting of different vermouths. I'm tired of using the same vermouths. I know that other ones exist out there. I'd want to get something that really that complements.
Would you do like a Bianca vermouth?
Well, there's different companies that make
maybe
them.
a Lillet.
Oh, that's nice. That's bright. It's appley. It's a little sweet.
Lillet. Or
Right.
you could do a Lillet rosé.
I think I don't know. I gotta think about it. Right? Get something. Ooh, yeah, something. Rose water and orange.
I'm gonna hit you with something that I think might be out of left field.
Oh shit.
I kind of want something starchy
Crack.
with it. Like,
Starchy yucca?
yeah. Or like cassava or like yucca.
Oh my god, we had the same fucking thought. Yeah, I can see
Yeah.
that. I can totally see
Something kind of like, not necessarily a milk, but something that's like, because initially I was like potato water, but that sounds gross. That that actually doesn't sound like the play. But I think like yucca or cassava or maybe even like prickly pear.
that. What is yucca?
That's a root. It's a
It's
tuber.
a root, right? It's a tuber.
I think
that's normally
it might
eaten-
be related to cassava.
They are effectively,
yeah.
but they're like the same family from different countries or whatever. It's
Yeah.
starchy. It's potatoey. You can fry it like a French fry.
Oh,
Maybe taro.
Damn. Yeah, that's kind of right on brand. Because also part of me was like ube, but that's just because honestly, ube's overhyped right now. Though when I was in
Ube,
ube, more like ooh, baby, no.
we're tasting. We're
I had
almost
a-
we're out of time. What's happening? I just realized we're out of time,
And we're out of.
but this is delicious.
This is pretty neat.
I want to give it a rating. I want to give it a
Wait,
rating.
wait,
or
wait,
something.
wait,
Oh, you have something? Okay.
wait.
Okay.
Everyone shut the fuck up. I have an idea. It's a mojito, but instead of mint, it's thyme. And marjoram.
Ooh.
Fuck with me, though. And instead of like a simple syrup,
Ooh.
it's just like a
Ooh.
little honey syrup. Like just a little honey.
The marjoram should be. It should still be like a simple syrup, but with honey.
Yeah.
With the marjoram.
Oh.
That way. Because I'm afraid of garnishing with it because it's like.
I would just and then muddle, and then.
When was the last time you had marjoram, like the leaf raw? I feel like you might not actually like that flavor.
What's the one that starts with a T? Tarragon.
Ooh, some tarragon.
Tarragon. More like
Tarragon?
Tara, come back. We need you for this drink. Fuck, that's a great suggestion.
Thistle.
Like milk thistle.
Ooh. So okay. So I was
Shit.
thinking balancing. You're thinking emphasize.
Emphasis.
Add an emphasis to the orris, to the coriander. You want to okay.
And then like a yucca orgeat. There's got to be like a term for an orgeat that isn't nut based, but it's like
No, because
potato.
orgeat is that. Orgeat is an almond based simple syrup effectively with rose water and almond. I feel like this would be something new. You made it.
We made it. You heard it here, folks. So if you see it on a menu anywhere, just tell them, hey, you copied this podcast, you fucking posers.
Which podcast?
This one right here.
Which is
The Was That in Good Taste presents a behind the bar production featuring the tasting table. You thought I wasn't gonna remember.
Damn, I'll be honest. This is it from now on. This is the thing. From now on, it's Was That in Good Taste presents Behind the Bar.
Production featuring the tasting table.
That's it. Game over. I always wanted, since the beginning, because of BoJack, I always wanted like a kind of weird, kind of funny name.
Yeah.
Right? The tasting table is funny, but that's like my dad is Mr. The Tasting Table.
You can call me.
You can call me. Was that good taste?
I like how it's the
Behind the
opposite of
bar.
the bit. Where it's like, oh, please, this long ass name was my father. You can call me Tad.
Stop it. I'm subverting it.
Yeah.
That's-
Just flipping it on its head.
That's comedy. All right, that's it. We're done. That was the tasting table. This is not behind the bar, but like, yeah, this will be at the bar at $35. It was 35, right? Around 35.
Yeah, around that.
Yeah, at like $35.99 on average. This is something that if you're going to go out and you're gonna grab a gin, I think it's the kind of thing worth grabbing. Why? Because other gins at its price range are honestly maybe not as good, or just as good. Gin is a low barrier kind of spirit. You know, you don't have to get a Monkey 77.
Is it better than Blue Coat?
But the problem is that I think that Blue Coat's value, right? I think Blue Coat's value, intrinsic value, okay, that shit is boozy.
I'm gonna be honest. We've been riding for Blue Coat, and I've been seeing them not on as many shelves lately.
Oh my God, I need to get one. That's it. We need to get out of here. That's it. Hold on, I'm gonna start the music.
And that's gonna be time.
And that is time. That's right. Just call me James.
I've been Chandler Phillips. Thank you for joining us for a Was That in Good Taste presents a Behind the Bar production featuring the tasting table.
Would it be bad if we had maybe for one more Was That in Good Taste presents Behind the Bar productions, the tasting table? We had some more. Okay.
I'm not gonna say
what I need you to do is I need you to like, I need you to follow, I need you to subscribe, do all that stuff. And more than anything, I need you to comment wherever you listen to this. Spotify, YouTube, on TikTok, where as long as it doesn't get taken down, I post the whole episode every week. I appreciate you. And without you, we would not be here. You are the reason that we're here.
I'll fucking kill myself.
Oh my God, don't say that.
I'll do it.
Okay, that's a game over. That's the tasting.
Hey, remember, it's a tasting table. We're not here for a long time, but we're here for a good time. Have a good night, everyone.
I can't. This fucking guy. I cannot fuck with you. This guy.